If you're a parent of a baby or toddler, I bet I know who's on your screen right now. Miss Rachel. Her videos are a global phenomenon. I mean, some have over 100 million views. And they promise so much, right? Brain growth, milestones, and especially language development. It feels like we're giving them a head start. But I had this nagging question. Can our babies and toddlers actually learn how to talk from watching these videos? I'm Sarah, and I'm not a doctor. I'm a mom on a mission to read all the parenting books and studies so you don't have to. And on this one, let's dive into what the research says. So what does the research say? Well, it all boils down to one single foundational rule, the bedrock for everything we're going to talk about today. And it's this: children under the age of 2 learn language best not from screens, but from direct face-to-face interaction with a real live person. Think about it. When you talk to your baby, you're not just reciting words from a list. You're a living, breathing feedback machine. You naturally lean in. You make eye contact. You might point to the dog when you say doggy. You adjust your tone if they look confused. You simplify your words. You celebrate when they babble back at you. There's a beautiful term for this in child development: serve and return. It's like a gentle game of conversational tennis. Your baby serves by cooing or pointing or looking at something, and you return that serve by responding with words, with eye contact, with affection. A screen can't do that. A screen serves, but it can never, ever return. It's a one-way broadcast. It has no idea if your child is engaged, confused, or even in the room. It just keeps talking. But look, this isn't just a nice theory or my personal opinion. This has been put to the test. And one fascinating study proved this in a way that might just change how you see screen time forever. So what did this study actually look like? Let's travel back to 2010. Researchers got together a group of families, all with toddlers between 12 and 18 months old. This is that perfect, precious age where they're just starting to bubble over with new words. The question the researchers wanted to answer was simple, but so incredibly important. How do these little ones actually learn vocabulary from a popular educational DVD? To find out, they carefully divided the families into 4 distinct groups. And this is where it gets really interesting. First up, let's talk about Group 1. I like to call them the interaction group. Imagine you're a parent in this group. The researchers hand you a list of 25 specific words, simple words like ball, cup, or shoe. But here's the crucial instruction. Don't use any videos. Just take this list and for the next month, consciously try to use these words with your child as you go about your day. So you do. You're not drilling them like flashcards. You're just living your life, but with a little more intention. When you're playing on the floor, you make a point to say, "Oh, look at this bright blue block." At snack time, you might gently tap their little plastic cup and say, "Here is your cup." You're weaving these words into the natural back and forth, that beautiful serve and return we talked about. There's no screen involved, just you, your child, and your world together. Now, let's picture Group 2. This is the scenario so many of us know well. This is the co-viewing group. These parents were given the DVD and were told to watch it with their child 5 times a week for a month. So picture it. You're settled on the couch, your toddler is comfortably nestled on your lap, and you're both watching the video. The video shows the same words, the same concepts. You're physically present, you're sharing the experience, maybe even pointing to the screen and saying, "Look, a ball." It feels like you're doing everything right. You're engaged, you're together. This is quality time, right? Then we have Group 3, the solo viewing group. And let's be honest, this is also a reality for almost every parent. These children watched the exact same DVD for the exact same amount of time, but they watched it alone. Maybe they were safely in their high chair while you were trying to get dinner on the table, or in their playpen while you needed to answer a few urgent emails. For those 30 minutes, the screen was the babysitter. The parent wasn't sitting there to comment or point things out. It was just the child and the video. And finally, there was Group 4, the control group. They were the baseline. These families didn't get a DVD, and they didn't get a word list. They were just told to go about their lives as they normally would for that month. They were essential for giving the researchers a benchmark for how many words a typical toddler might learn in that time without any kind of special intervention. So let's just recap. We have 4 groups. Parents teaching the words in real life, no screens. Group 2, parents and kids watching the DVD together. Group 3, kids watching the DVD alone. And Group 4, no instructions at all. The researchers tracked all these kids for a month, and at the end, they measured how many of those 25 target words each group had actually learned. Before I tell you what they found, just take a second, make a guess. Who do you think came out on top? And more importantly, how did the other groups stack up against each other? The answer is not at all what you might think. Okay, so the results came in. And as you might have guessed, the kids in Group 1, the ones whose parents just talked to them and used the words in everyday life, they learned the most words, by a long shot. No surprise there, right? That's the power of direct interaction we talked about. But here is the part that honestly blew my mind, and it's the core of what we need to understand. The study found that the children who watched the DVD with their parents sitting right beside them did not do any better than the children who watched the DVD completely by themselves. And neither of those groups did significantly better than the kids who got no instruction at all. Let that sink in for a moment. The simple, well-intentioned act of a parent sitting next to the screen made no statistical difference to their baby's language learning. This is the finding that stops so many of us in our tracks. It just feels wrong, doesn't it? It begs the ultimate question, why? Why doesn't our presence help when they're that young? The answer is fascinating, and it all lies in how a baby's brain is wired. The simplest way to put it is this. For a baby under about 18 months old, a picture of a thing is not the thing itself. Their brain hasn't yet reliably built the bridge between the two-dimensional world on a screen and the three-dimensional world they can actually touch, taste, and smell. This is a huge concept, so let's walk through it together with a perfect example. Let's go back to Miss Rachel. Imagine your 1-year-old is watching. On the screen, Miss Rachel points to herself and says, clearly and slowly, "Mama." Now, for you and me, that's simple, but for your baby, it's the start of an incredibly complex mental marathon. First, their brain has to recognize that this specific person on screen is being identified by the sound "mama." That's step 1. But then, maybe the video shows pictures of other women, and Miss Rachel points to them and says "mama" too. Okay, think about what a huge cognitive leap this is. For a baby, this is deeply confusing. Is mama the name of that first person, or is it a sound for all of these different-looking people? They have to figure out that mama isn't a name, but a category of person. That's a massive step in abstract thinking. And then comes the final and most difficult leap of all. After watching all of this on a flat, glowing rectangle, your child has to look away from the screen, turn to you, their real, three-dimensional, smells-like-home parent, and understand that this sound, "mama," also applies to you. Even though you look completely different from Miss Rachel and from all the other women in the pictures. You have a different face, different hair, a different voice. That, right there, is a monumental cognitive feat. It's not just learning a word, it's understanding a symbol. It's a concept called symbolic representation, and a baby's brain just isn't consistently able to make that transfer from a 2D source until about 18 months to 2 years of age. Let me give you another way to think about it. Showing a baby a picture of a banana is simply not the same as letting them hold, smell, and taste a real banana. For their developing brain, one is a flat, glowing image, and the other is a rich, sensory experience. They are two completely different things. It's the same with a toy. A shiny, animated cartoon ball that bounces perfectly on screen exists in a different universe from the soft, squishy, slightly slobbery ball they can actually roll on the floor and put in their mouth. The screen version lacks all the real-world data their brain is built to learn from: weight, texture, temperature, smell, the way it feels when they chew on it. So when that study we talked about found that your presence didn't help, it wasn't a reflection on your parenting at all. It's because your baby wasn't seeing the screen the way you do. They weren't seeing a teaching tool. They were seeing a captivating show of lights and sounds. And no amount of you sitting there, pointing and repeating the words can build a neural bridge that their brain isn't physically ready to construct yet. So does all of this mean we should just throw our iPads out the window? Not at all. Because after age 2, the rules of the game change completely. Their brains are now developed enough to start making that leap from the 2D screen to the 3D world, and learning from screens becomes possible if we follow 3 golden rules. First, the content itself has to be right. That means it's designed for their age group, it moves at a logical, calm pace, and it reflects their world. Think less about frantic, fast-cutting cartoons and more about shows that tell a simple story they can actually follow and relate to. Second, the show needs to be interactive. It should talk to your child and, crucially, pause to give them a chance to respond, even if it's just with a gesture. A classic example of this is Dora the Explorer. When Dora asks, "Which way to the bridge?" and then waits, she's actually modeling that back-and-forth interaction we know is so critical. And the third rule, which brings it all together, is co-viewing the right way. It's not enough to just be in the room. You have to be an active participant. Talk about what's happening. For example, "Look, Bluey is sad. Why do you think she's sad?" "Oh, her balloon flew away, just like your red balloon did at the park." You're building that bridge for them. This is how we turn passive screen time into active learning. So I'm curious, what are your family's go-to educational shows? Share your favorites in the comments. You might give another parent a great idea. And while you're sharing those amazing recommendations, let's lock in the simple rules we've covered today. It really boils down to this. For our little ones under 2, nothing beats our direct back-and-forth interaction. That's where the real language magic happens. For our toddlers over 2, screens can be a powerful tool, but only if we follow those 3 golden rules: the right content, real interaction, and watching it with them. And remember to keep an eye on the clock. The American Academy of Pediatrics suggests limiting it to 1 quality hour per day for kids aged 2 to 5. To help you track your child's progress, I've put together a fantastic free PDF with all the key communication milestones from ages 1 to 4. The link is right there for you in the description. Now, I know one of the biggest challenges isn't just what they watch, but getting them to turn it off without a total meltdown. That is a huge topic, and it's exactly what we're tackling in our next deep dive. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button. It tells YouTube this is valuable information that more parents need to see. And to make sure you don't miss that next video on tantrums, hit subscribe. Videos that question popular trends can sometimes get buried, so subscribing is the absolute best way for us to stay connected. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one.